Hey, Susan here with thoughts about writing and why we write again, because it's a question that comes up again and again about why we write, given the world that we're living in, given the landscape of the publishing world, and so on. And the one thing I've been wanting to write a post about this, but I thought, well, maybe I'll just talk to you because it's about you if you're listening, if you're watching. The thing is, I love writing, especially in groups of people where I get to hear amazing, freshly generated, hot off the press writing from amazing writers that come to my workshops, but also in workshops and retreats that I attend. Writing in community it just rocks. It's special. It's magic. It's magic what comes off the page in such surprising ways. Yeah, there's what's not to love. And then the next step, of course, is if you want to progress and or not progress, it isn't even the right word, but if you want to get your word, get your words, get your stories, get your poems out into the world, you have to submit. I love that word. You have to submit. You have to submit to, well, this is my journey anyway. I submit to literary journals, and with the shorter pieces, and with the novels, which, think about it. My novels take years to write, years again to edit and refine. And if I listen to people, friends of mine like Claire Dunn, for instance, who wrote At Last Count, um, other other people that I know who've written, and it takes forever to get that piece polished and ready to go. It goes through editorial runs, refining years. It takes years. I mean, some people, yes, it's true, they can get it done in a year. you know so then you send it off. Then you make a query, which is also really onerous. A synopsis, trying to take your 80,000 or 100,000 or 60,000 word project into a few paragraphs, then to whittle it down to one paragraph. And then what most agents and publishers want is what they call a pitch or a log line, which is one sentence. So that in itself could take you months. So you do all that, you research and research and research, um, to find the right agent, the right publisher. I keep saying you, but I'm talking about my process, uh, from the UK to the US to Australia to Canada. You query all the agents, you make sure that it's refined and positioned to them, what they want, you get the right one. Um, and then you think, okay, well, I'll also submit. Here in Canada, we have amazing array of wonderful small presses that publish high quality works, novels and books of poetry and short stories. Uh, Lots of them. We have lots of those, especially here in Ontario. We have lots, but they're right across the country. So, and most of them allow submissions from unagented authors. So I submit to all of them. I'm talking about this particular novel I've just written. Submit to all of them. We have some great granting opportunities here in Canada and provincially. So there's a wonderful program from the Ontario Arts Council called the Recommender Grants, where you submit your query, your proposal to the independent presses. And if they think your project is worthwhile, they uh, recommend the Ontario Arts Council to grant you some funds. And that can go anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000. And you are eligible to query to submit your proposal to up to, I think, 10 different publications. So I did that. I did that. Also, the Canada Council has a great funding program, which has gone through some various changes over the past year. but there's a big bundle of cash available for those were deemed worthy, those projects deemed worthy. So I submitted to that. So here's the thing that I'm getting at. I am so happy for my friends who receive these grants. I've received a couple of small grants that I'm very, very grateful for. Um, but mostly year after year after year, it's sorry, no, no thanks. And it's a bit demoralizing to say, the least, that you think, okay, my project isn't worthy. It's not, nobody wants to read this, or I don't know. It's hard to say because they don't tell you why. I had one wonderful, wonderful Canadian agent tell me that this last project, which is a novel about a woman who is trying to create an authentic, meaningful, provocative to choreograph a dance that really speaks to a truthful, position in life. And as she's doing this, her husband is arrested and charged with molesting their babysitter. So, so she is caught between, do I believe him who says he didn't do it? There's a revenge aspect to Me Too. All of this comes into it. So this wonderful agent who unfortunately rejected the representing the book was kind enough to tell me that although she found that the writing was good and the story was, compelling, that people didn't want this kind of story now because they want escape, because everything is going to pieces. So we want to escape. And I'm thinking, okay. And I understand also that, people who read horror or true crime or um, really awful stories, everybody dying and getting shot, there's this feeling like it's okay because it's not happening to me. This is what one of my friends said. That's why she's interested in these kinds of stories, because it's escape in that, oh, well, this isn't happening to me. Nobody's, shooting me in the street. Although, yeah, okay, that's another story. Anyway, this is domestic and it's happening and it's happening. And people don't want to know about that. Or that's what she said. They don't want to read about that. However, however, in my first novel, although it also dealt with very difficult subjects of, grooming at a young age, abortion, cancer, things that are happening to people, the feedback that I got when I finally did get it published was that readers felt seen. They were like, "Oh, I can relate to this." So it's it's a conundrum. They can relate to it, and I think they would relate to this second book. But somehow it's not finding somebody who wants. It's not finding any kind of platform to publish it. Okay, so that said, this isn't a big whiny fest. I'm just telling you what's happening. So here's the thing: I write on Substack. I write what I want to write. I write what gives me pleasure, and I publish it myself on Substack, and people read it. People read what I wrote, and it reaches them. And the feedback I get, whether it's an email about it or whether it's the few comments that I get on the posts, there's a response. It feels intimate. It feels like I'm connecting with people. And that's the beauty of writing anything that people read, is there is this connection with human beings, this intimacy. It's out there, and people read it and they connect. So, I this it's so interesting because yes, I have control over my Substack. Whether people read it or not, it's out of my hands, but at least it's out there. Whereas, this novel that I want to reach people, I can't somehow get it out there. Um, yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because I think I guess I wanted to explain the joy I have in writing Substack posts. Sometimes I will write a piece about my own life, and sometimes I'll just write a piece about my thoughts or ideas about things. And there's no gatekeeper. I can, and so if it touches, if it moves, if it reaches, that's the sweetness. That's what gives me joy. So when is all and said and done, that's my I think my greatest pleasure is connecting. Is connecting, is the human connection. Yeah. So that's why I do it. And if you're listening, or if you're reading, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And yeah, I'll just keep chugging along. Thank you for watching.